Hello friends, welcome to Bookholder. Today, we will discuss the book, Flatland, a romance of many dimensions, by Edwin A. Abbott. Have you ever considered that the world you see with your eyes, the reality you experience, might just be a very small part of the whole truth? After listening to this audiobook, your perspective on your world, your problems, and your reality may change significantly. Your way of thinking is likely to be transformed permanently. If you are among those who believe that what is visible is the only truth, this audiobook may not be for you. Prepare to listen, as it may provide insights that you have never encountered before. We often get entangled in our problems and minor issues, treating them as if they constitute the entire universe. We tend to view life from a singular perspective and then wonder why nothing changes. This audiobook addresses this fundamental concern, providing you with a new perspective, direction, and dimension. It will teach you how to transcend the boundaries of your thinking and see the truths that have always been before you but have remained unseen. By the end of this audiobook, you will understand that the most significant prison we face is our own mindset. So, if you are ready to remove the barriers of your thinking and explore a world that you have never even imagined, join me on this journey. Chapter 1: The Truth of Flatland, Where Only Width and Length Matter. Let us enter a world called Flatland. As the name suggests, this world is entirely flat, like a sheet of paper. In this world, there are only two dimensions, length and width. The concepts of height or depth hold no meaning here because no one has ever experienced them. The inhabitants of this world are quite peculiar. They are not humans or animals but geometric shapes, lines, triangles, squares, pentagons, and circles. You might wonder what kind of childish world this is. However, the depth of this world will surprise you. The hero of our story is a square, named Square. He is an esteemed citizen and a learned professional. Everything in his world is orderly and bound by rules. The society of Flatland operates under strict regulations, where one's status is determined by the number of sides one has. More sides mean more respect. At the lowest level are women, who are straight lines. They are considered dangerous because if they approach directly, they appear as a point and could cause harm upon collision. Next are soldiers and workers, represented by isosceles triangles, whose sides are not equal and are not known for their intelligence. Then come the middle-class individuals, such as equilateral triangles, followed by professionals and gentlemen like our hero Square and pentagons. At the pinnacle of society are the priests, represented by circles, who are deemed the most perfect and sacred because they have no sides or, in other words, countless tiny sides. Consider how closely this society resembles our own. Are people not categorized based on their birth, work, or appearance? We, too, are trapped in our minor identities. Square and his peers believed they were content, thinking that length and width were all that existed. This was their unwavering belief. They adhered to the rules of their world, respected those of higher status, and regarded those beneath them as insignificant. Their lives proceeded in a straight line, without question or doubt. They had complete trust in their reality, much like we do in ours. We also believe that what we can see, touch, and feel is the only truth. Square often wandered in his world, meeting other shapes. He lived in a house that was square-shaped and taught his children, envisioning them as successful pentagons or hexagons in the future. Everything seemed normal, but they had no idea that their seemingly ordinary world was about to shatter. An event was about to occur that would challenge their beliefs. They were unaware that someone was observing their flat world from above, someone who would come from a direction that was unimaginable for any inhabitant of Flatland. One night, while Square was alone at home, he experienced something strange. He heard a voice that was not coming from any external source but rather from within himself. He was alarmed and looked around in every direction, north, south, east, and west, only to find no one there. Then, something appeared in the middle of his closed room. First, it was a small point, then it transformed into a small circle, which then expanded and expanded until it shrank back into a point and disappeared. Square's mental state was shaken. How could anything enter without passing through a door or wall? How could a circle change its shape? This defied the laws of nature. Their entire world, their science, their beliefs trembled at this single event. Little did they know that this was just the beginning. They were about to encounter a mystery that would either drive them insane or reveal a truth about the universe that no inhabitant of Flatland had ever dared to see. What was this mystery? Whose voice was it, and who was this strange guest who defied every rule of their world? The answers to these questions would forever alter their lives. Chapter 2: An Unknown Guest and the Secret of the Third Dimension. When reality exceeds your understanding. After the strange and frightening event of the previous night, our hero Square could no longer sleep. He kept pondering who or what it was, a circle that could change its shape. This was impossible. In Flatland, shapes are constant, a square remains a square, and a circle remains a circle. This was the most fundamental rule of their world. This incident planted a seed of doubt in Square's mind. Did they truly know everything they claimed to know? Was their reality the ultimate reality? As he grappled with these questions, the guest reappeared. This time, in the daylight, right before him, the same process unfolded, a point becoming a circle, then stabilizing, followed by the same voice. I am a messenger from many worlds, and I have come to deliver a new truth. Square trembled with fear and astonishment. He mustered the courage to ask, "Who are you, and how did you enter my closed room? Most importantly, how can you, as a circle, change your shape?" The guest, identifying as a circle, laughed and replied, "I am not just what you see. You perceive me only as a circle, but that is not my complete truth. I come from a world where there are 3 dimensions." Hearing this, Square thought the guest was either mad or mocking him. He said, "What nonsense are you speaking? There are only 2 dimensions in the world, length and width. North, south and east, west. There is nothing beyond that. What does a third dimension mean?" Thus began a conversation between them that would become one of the most frustrating yet significant discussions in history. The guest, whose true form was a sphere, tried hard to explain the concept of height to Square. He said, "Just as you can move in length and width, there is another direction, up and down." Square could not comprehend this. For him, up only meant north. He retorted, "Everything you are saying is absurd. Show me. Where is this third dimension?" The sphere replied, "I cannot show you because you are trapped in your flat world. You can only see in 2 dimensions. To perceive the third dimension, you must rise above your world." Imagine that situation. How can you explain width to someone who has walked in a straight line their whole life? It was similar. The sphere provided many arguments, saying, "Look, when I enter your world, you first see my end as a point. Then, as I pass through your plane, my cross-section appears as a widening circle. And when I fully pass through, that circle shrinks back into a point. I am not changing my shape. You are only seeing a part of my body, a layer." However, Square's limited understanding could not grasp this reasoning. To him, it seemed like magic or deception. He accused the sphere of being a liar and a shapeshifter. Gradually, the sphere began to feel frustrated. He realized that it was impossible to explain the third dimension to this 2-dimensional being through words and arguments. He understood that knowledge could not merely be conveyed, it had to be experienced. The sphere warned Square, "You have become so blind in your ignorance that you do not want to see the truth. Words are useless to you. Now you must experience reality." No matter how harsh the method, Square felt that he was being threatened. He stood his ground, defending his 2-dimensional reality. He believed that this was the ultimate truth of his world and that this outsider wanted to destroy it. This confrontation was not just between 2 individuals but between 2 dimensions, 2 different realities. On one side was the limited, comfortable, familiar world, and on the other was a vast, infinite, unknown reality. We all encounter moments in our lives when we, like Square, resist new ideas or perspectives that conflict with our established beliefs. We label them as false or insane. We are reluctant to abandon the comfort of our small world. However, the path to growth and knowledge begins only after we let go of that comfort. The same was about to happen with Square. The sphere had now resolved to show Square the truth he was so adamantly denying. The sphere said one last time, "I give you one final chance. Will you voluntarily accept the existence of the third dimension?" Square firmly replied, "No, this is absurd, and I do not believe you." The sphere took a deep breath and said, "Then prepare yourself. What will happen next may cause you distress, but it will also grant you freedom beyond your imagination." At that moment, Square felt a strange pull, as if something was drawing him inward. His body, which had always existed on a flat surface, began to rise in a direction that had no name and no identity. He screamed, panicking, unable to understand what was happening to him. His world began to blur. What was the sphere about to do? Would it harm Square, or would it reveal something that would shake his entire understanding of reality? To find out, we must proceed to the next chapter, where the truth is about to be unveiled. Chapter 3, The Journey to the Third Dimension. When Square first saw the world from above, the sensation was unforgettable. A pull that had drawn him out of his own flat world. He was moving in a direction he could not name. Below him, his familiar flat world was shrinking. Overwhelmed with fear, he soon caught sight of a view that transformed his fear into wonder and awe. He looked down and saw his world, but not as he had always seen it, a mere line. For the first time, he was viewing his world from above. He could see everything at once, his city, its streets, other houses, all clearly like a map. It was a sight he had never imagined. The sphere's voice echoed, "Look, this is your world, the one you believe to be the entire universe." Square was astonished. He could see his own house, but not just from the outside, he could also see inside. Yes, by looking from above, everything inside his house was visible, his wife and children, who were home at the time. This was a miracle. In Flatland, there was no way to see inside a closed shape without crossing through its walls. But here, from the third dimension, everything was an open book. All secrets, all hidden things, were laid bare. Slowly, Square began to understand. He grasped what the sphere had been trying to convey, what up and down meant, what the third dimension was. This was not a trick or magic. It was a real, solid truth that was far more vast and profound than his own two-dimensional reality. He felt ashamed of his ignorance and arrogance, realizing how blind he had been to the greater truth before him. He apologized to the sphere, saying, "I was blind, but now I can see. You have shown me what was unimaginable. I am your student. Please teach me more about this new world." The sphere was pleased to see Square's transformation. It took him to Space Land, its three-dimensional world. For the first time, Square saw real shapes. He viewed cubes, pyramids, and the sphere in its true form, a globe. This was entirely new to him. In Flatland, he had only seen these shapes as cross-sections. For instance, a cube appeared as a square, and a globe as a circle. Now, he could appreciate their actual depth and height. His mind was filled with this explosion of knowledge, feeling as though he had been trapped in a dark room for years, and suddenly someone had opened the doors and windows. Consider how this experience could apply to our lives. When we are deeply entrenched in a problem, we, too, can become like Square, viewing the issue from only one perspective. We become entangled in it, confined by our beliefs and perceptions. Then, a friend, a mentor, or a book may present a new perspective, a third dimension, helping us to rise above the problem. Suddenly, everything becomes clear, and solutions that were previously invisible come into view. We realize that what seemed like an insurmountable wall was merely a small line that needed to be crossed. If you ever feel trapped in your life, remember that you might just need to change your perspective and view your problem from a new angle. Please share your new perspective in the comments if you agree with me. For Square, this was not just an intellectual experience, it was a spiritual one. He had finally realized the limits of himself and his world. He understood that the universe was much grander, more mysterious, and more beautiful than his thoughts had allowed. However, this newfound knowledge brought with it a new question. If there is a one-dimensional world Align, and a two-dimensional world Flatland, and then this three-dimensional world Spaceland, could there be a fourth dimension or even a fifth? This question flashed through his mind like lightning. He looked at the sphere, his eyes filled with a new glow, a new curiosity. He was no longer just a student, he had become a seeker. He asked the sphere a question that would take the story to an even deeper level. "Oh teacher, is there a fourth dimension?" Chapter 4, 1, 2, 3. How many worlds are there? Is our reality the ultimate reality? Square's question hung in the air. Was there a fourth dimension? It was a question filled with childish curiosity, yet its depth was significant. The sphere, who had played the role of a teacher until now, became somewhat uncomfortable with this inquiry. He laughed and said, "My dear friend, your mind is now wandering into the realm of imagination. Three dimensions are the reality: length, width, and height. There is no such thing as a fourth dimension, it is merely a figment of the mind. This response astonished Square. He realized he might be making the same mistake he had earlier. Square began to argue, saying, "Master, think about it. When I was in Flatland, two dimensions were my complete truth. I could not even conceive of a third dimension. You made me experience it, and I came to believe it. So, how is it possible that you, who are more knowledgeable than I, can claim that your three-dimensional reality is the ultimate reality? Why couldn't there be a fourth dimension from which a four-dimensional being observes us just as you observe me and my world? A dimension where even our enclosed rooms would appear open." Square's words now carried a new confidence and understanding. He was no longer merely imitating, he was reasoning. He was advancing his comprehension. The tables had turned. Now, Square spoke as a visionary, while the sphere appeared to be the narrow-minded one. The sphere grew angry, saying, "Stop this nonsense. There is no such thing. I have shown you a great truth, and instead of respecting it, you are caught up in useless fantasies. 3 is the only complete number. There are 3 dimensions." At this moment, Square realized how strange the boundaries of knowledge could be. A being who was like a god in one world could also be trapped within the confines of his own realities. The sphere, who seemed to know everything to Square, was also afraid to contemplate the fourth dimension, just as Square feared the third dimension. This is the deepest philosophical aspect of this story. It teaches us that no knowledge is final. There may always be a larger truth beyond every truth. Newton provided us with the laws of gravity, and we felt we had understood the universe. Then came Einstein, who introduced the theory of relativity, expanding our understanding even further. Today, quantum physics reveals a world that lies far beyond our everyday comprehension. Both science and spirituality teach us to keep our minds open. We should never assume that what we know is all there is, for the moment we do, our growth ceases. We can become like the sphere, refusing to accept new knowledge. Square tried hard to explain to the sphere, sharing a dream where he had visited a one-dimensional world, where the inhabitants could only move back and forth along a straight line. He attempted to explain width to them, but they could not grasp it. Then he envisioned Point Land, where the king was merely a point, believing himself to be the entirety of the universe because he knew nothing beyond himself. Square used these examples to illustrate that just as a line is inconceivable to a point, and a flat surface to a line, a solid form may also be unimaginable to something four-dimensional. However, that does not mean it does not exist. But the sphere was not willing to listen. He felt his authority and knowledge were being threatened. He believed his student was now going too far. Angered, he sent Square back to his world of Flatland. Square suddenly found himself back in his home, in his flat world. But he was no longer the same Square. His eyes had been opened, he had witnessed a reality he could never forget. An intense desire burned within him to share the truth he had discovered with his fellow shapes, to liberate them from their narrow thinking. He wanted to show them that their world was not everything, that there was another dimension offering true freedom. But would the inhabitants of Flatland, who had lived in their two-dimensional world for centuries, accept such a revolutionary idea? Would they view Square as a savior or a madman? The future of Square, and indeed the future of an entire society, was at stake. Chapter 5: The Consequences of Speaking the Truth. Is society ready to hear the truth? Square had returned to his world, yet his mind and spirit remained lost in the three-dimensional realm. What his eyes had witnessed was now impossible to deny. He was driven by a passion, a mission, to spread the news of the third dimension throughout Flatland. He believed that as soon as he shared this profound truth, everyone would rejoice, realize their limitations, and create a better society. How naive he was! He had no idea how society reacts to new and revolutionary ideas, especially when they challenge long-standing norms. He began with his closest family, attempting to explain to his grandson, a small hexagon, how rotating a square into the third dimension could create a cube. The child understood to some extent. But when Square began to share this with his sons and others, he was met with blank, confused stares. People did not comprehend what he was saying. To them, it seemed like madness. They asked, "What are you talking about? Up and down, what does that even mean? Have you lost your mind?" Square did not give up. He thought if he could not convince the common people, he should approach the most esteemed and knowledgeable individuals in society, the circles. They were the priests and rulers. Surely, they would understand his message. With renewed hope, he went to the High Council and recounted his entire story, from the arrival of the sphere to his journey in the three-dimensional world. He hoped they would understand and conduct research on it, declaring him a hero. However, what transpired was entirely beyond his expectation. The circles listened to his account, but instead of enlightenment, their eyes reflected fear and anger. They saw not truth in Square's words but a threat. The idea that a third dimension existed posed a challenge to their entire power structure. Their authority and sanctity hinged on being the most perfect shape. If a third dimension existed, it meant they were also imperfect, merely a small part of a much larger reality. This was intolerable for them. Additionally, if this notion spread among the common populace, it could incite rebellion. For ages, the established rules and order could be disrupted, leading to questioning and unrest, something the ruling class detested. The High Council promptly declared Square a dangerous rebel and heretic. They accused him of sowing confusion among the people and attempting to disturb societal peace. They ordered him to publicly retract his statements and apologize, or he would face imprisonment. Square was faced with a significant moral dilemma. On one side was his comfortable, secure life, while on the other was the truth he had witnessed. He could either lie and remain free or cling to the truth and face imprisonment. He chose the latter, declaring, "I cannot deny the truth I have experienced. Whether today or tomorrow, you will all have to believe it." Upon hearing this, he was immediately arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment. He was confined to a dark cell from which he would never emerge. His mission remained unfulfilled. What he believed would be a revolution was crushed in an instant. Society had refused to accept change, prioritizing comfort and order over truth and knowledge. In prison, Square found himself alone with his thoughts. The world viewed him as a madman, but he knew he was the only one truly awake. He often reminisced about Spaceland, that vast and beautiful world, hoping that perhaps one day another sphere would come, or another Square would arise who would understand him and carry this message forward. His story was a tragedy, yet his hope remained alive. This narrative teaches us a harsh truth. Seeing the truth is one thing, but living with that truth and getting society to accept it is an entirely different and much more challenging matter. Conclusion: how to escape your flatland? So, friends, this was the story of Square and his remarkable world of Flatland. On the surface, it may seem like a children's tale where lines and squares converse, but delving deeper reveals profound lessons about life, society, and reality. This story is not merely about dimensions or geometry, it is about us. We all live in our own flatlands, our thoughts, beliefs, biases, and the rules imposed by society. Like Square, we tend to consider our reality as the entirety and view any new idea or perspective with skepticism. From this audiobook, we learned a crucial lesson: our reality is limited. What we see, hear, or feel may only be a small part of the whole truth. There is always a broader perspective, a third dimension, waiting to be explored, which requires us to rise above our current way of thinking. Whenever you find yourself stuck in a problem, ask yourself, am I viewing this issue from just one perspective? Could there be another dimension to it? The second lesson is about intellectual humility. The sphere, despite its vast knowledge, could not accept the idea of a fourth dimension. This teaches us to never assume that we know everything. Knowledge is an infinite journey. We must remain students and keep our minds open to new ideas, regardless of how much they challenge our established beliefs. Lastly, the most critical lesson is the courage to walk the path of truth. When Square encountered the truth, he faced two choices: live comfortably by lying or endure hardship by embracing the truth. He chose the latter, even though it led to imprisonment. This serves as a reminder that society does not easily accept new and revolutionary ideas. History shows us that individuals like Galileo and Martin Luther King, who challenged established norms, faced opposition and scorn. However, in the end, truth prevails. So, the next time a new idea presents itself, pause for a moment before dismissing it. Who knows, that idea might serve as a sphere, guiding you out of your flatland and into a larger, more expansive world. Thank you for joining me on this enlightening journey. I hope this audiobook has provided you with a new perspective. If you enjoyed this summary, please like this video and share it with friends who appreciate philosophical discussions. In the comments, let us know what your flatland is, from which you wish to escape. And don't forget to subscribe to the Books Lane channel for more profound and enlightening audiobook summaries. We'll meet again in the next audiobook with a new book and a new perspective. Until then, keep thinking and pushing your boundaries. Thank you.